Welcome to Satsunami. Hello everybody, hope you're having a good day, and welcome to a very special episode of Satsunami. As you can see by the title, today I am joined by a very awesome person, someone who I've gotten to know over the course of streaming, that being BlowfishmanTV. Hello there, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me today.
No problem, Satsu. It's a big honor to be here today. I was like, I'm going to try, being on a podcast once. Let's see how this goes,
Yeah. All I can say is I hope it lives up to your expectations. This being relatively new.
Dude, no worries.
Oh.
Like I've tuned into your podcast whenever I can. Sadly, you stream it around the same time as you do your podcast. I wish I could tune into a whole one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, I'm loving it. Like it's super chill, super relaxed. It's sort of like, just two friends talking to each other,
Oh, thank you. Now, I have to admit, that is one of the downsides of, like, especially some of the streamers I've made friends with, where they're all awesome people, but they stream at the exact same time, and it's like trying to just, watch them all and everything, and it's just, not great sometimes.
Yeah, trust me, I have that exact same issue. It's like, oh, you're on, let me support you. Oh, no, this person's on? Oh, no.
Yeah, oh, no.
Oh, no,
No.
that sort of thing.
Yeah, let's just jump into it. Before we get into, like, the main kind of topic, I was just going to give a bit of context, really just about, how we stumbled across one another. And I was trying to think about this earlier, but I'm pretty sure, and completely correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure we met because of a raid from Naf's channel.
Yeah, when Naf Gaines, a little history on Naf Gaines here for anyone in the chat. When he was still Nath_O, that's how I met Satsu. That's how far back this goes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, once Naf Gaines is like a super awesome, streamer.
He's a great streamer.
Yeah.
So good at what he does.
He really is, yeah. If you haven't checked him out, go check him out as well. He is awesome. But yeah, it must have been, and I have to admit, that's how I've met quite a lot, yourself included, of course, but that's how I met a lot of like really awesome streamers, just through raids and things like that. And it's amazing stumbling across someone like thrown from a raid from one person's channel to the other. And then you kind of don't know until you actually get to that channel that that's going to be like another person that you're going to be following for a while.
Trust me, I've been there. I'd be like, hey, you're not my friend, but hey, this streamer's pretty awesome. Follow, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, what's up, right?
And then it's just
I get that feeling.
Yeah, and then it's just a downward spiral of like JoJo references and all of that.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Man, you met me when I was only a wee, JoJo fan, still at Stardust Crusaders Part 3, right? And I'm like, I'm not at the Dio part just yet, but I just know all the memes, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Don't worry guys, we will like come to the wonderful world of JoJo and his bizarre adventures, but before we do before we do, so just for the context of like the audience listening just now, what kind of content do you do?
So I just basically do a lot of just variety, pretty much anything. I mean, Satsu, you tuned in yesterday when I was giving a funeral to my monitor. So I do like wacky stuff like that, to like dating sims, to Resident Evil 2, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure video game.
Yeah.
What else have I played? I've played like a ton of games. Fran Bo, I still don't like that game because it still causes me I get stressed out over it. But yeah, like just a typical variety streamer just trying to get by,
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I have to admit, I am biased because I'm also a variety streamer, so but yeah, no.
With that.
Yeah. Hashtag variety streamer gang representing right here on this chat.
Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I was actually going to ask you, Satsu, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you agree with the philosophy where it's like, you shouldn't marry yourself to one game? Because I feel like I would agree with that philosophy where it's like you shouldn't marry yourself to one game because I feel like content would get stale despite all the DLCs and the updates that like every game comes with. I don't know if you feel the same way. So is that your reason for being a variety streamer?
Yeah, I definitely think that is, I completely agree with that. I think that if, like, I've heard a lot of horror stories, even before going into Twitch, when I was, like, kind of researching and everything, I've heard there's a lot of streamers who, they'll go into a game like Call of Duty, or usually it's an FPS, but it could be anything, really. It's a game that they're either really good at, or they really like, and that is kind of the dream. That's kind of like, if you've got a game that you're really good at, and you want to share your love of the game, then you're going to go in and you're going to play it all the time and just be like, oh, let me show how awesome I am. But there is that kind of period where you go through a slump. Like, for example, I mean, I'm a huge fan of games like Pokemon and even Call of Duty as well and things like that. And for a while, if you keep playing those games, you do get some kind of enjoyment out of it. But
sure.
yeah, I definitely think if you keep playing the same game, it's going to get tiring for you as well. And you're going to need to find 100%. Ways to kind of spice it up. Because the way that it seems to be is if you're not like a top tier player, or you're not bringing something different to it, then chances are your channel's not going to succeed the kind of the same way as 100%. A lot of other ones. And I mean, at least with variety streaming, I don't know if you feel the same, it's like you can kind of find your niche with that. Because I know there's a lot of streamers who, like, they'll fall into that trap, they'll be playing for ages, and they'll get, like, quite a good following, but then later on, they'll change to another game, and instantly they just lose that following, because the people who followed them in the first place aren't interested in, like, the new content they're bringing out, if you know what I mean.
Oh, dude, I 100% get that. Like, with variety, like, because here's the thing with me too. When it comes to video games, like, I like a whole bunch of different games, right? And I'm like, and at the same time, when I also wanted to start this whole thing, I was like, like, funny enough, I low-key wanted to try being a League streamer when I was actually okay at it.
Yeah.
When it's still like the early days of like season 3, season 2, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, but then I was also watching some of my other favorite streamers play, and I'm like, they, like, their content sort of got into a slump. Their energy isn't as good as before. And then, when they switch over to another game because, they want to just take a break from the game they're popular for, people would complain. And I'm like, I mean, I kind of don't want that if I were to ever do this. Like, I kind of want to be the guy who's like sort of a jack of all trades sort of streamer, right? You get, like I said, you get things like holding a funeral monitor for a funeral for a monitor, to like me giving ridiculous voices to a bunch of like love interests and dating sims and all that. And I've had a ton of fun with that, and I do 100% agree with your statement, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to do like what makes. I mean, obviously you've got to do something that's entertaining, but at the same time you've got to do something that makes you happy as well. I would agree with that, because like as you said, if you were just doing the same thing over and over again, and it could be something as simple as just playing like League or Call of Duty or something like that, just any game over and over again, like it's going to be. It's not going to be as entertaining for both the audience and yourself. So no, absolutely, totally agree with that.
Yeah, because like at the same time, when doing variety for me, at least it's sort of a way for like people to get to know what sort of person I am in a way. It's like, well, I mean, I like having fun with this game, but at the same time, like I kind of want to sit back and relax and some just chatting streams, and like just have like a chill stream overall, right?
And I do agree. I think, like, especially with variety streaming, it does let you, or rather it exposes you more to different kind of genres and things. Like, for example, if you were solely like a one game streamer, you wouldn't be able to play like horror games or, like just interesting games that are going to provoke another reaction. And as you said, it does. It shows like your personality coming through for those different games. Which it's quite interesting, because I have to admit, like, when I started playing horror games for Halloween, oh my god, I did not expect myself to react the way I did. Like, especially for games like Outlast, because usually when I get scared, I get very talkative, and I try to make like a lot of jokes, but then I just kind of hit that threshold where I just started screaming, and it's not something like I expected myself to do. But yeah, I feel as if like if I wasn't a variety streamer, I wouldn't have got that chance to do that. So yeah, thank you to variety streaming for letting the world hear my terrorized streams.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because, like, first of all, I've actually watched you play a few horror games like Phasmophobia and all that, and I've noticed that you've done that. I'm like, oh my god, this guy talks so much when he's scared. And like, yeah, that's the great thing about variety streamers. Like, you're exposed to every different kind of game, right? And then, like, for me, I always like going into games blind. Well, I don't know if that term's allowed anymore because I'm sure you've probably heard about what Twitch is trying to do. Sue me. But like I always like going into games like not knowing what's happening because, like, one, it'll make good content. Two, you're gonna get my genuine reaction out of it. Because like there's always gonna be people online who are gonna complain like, oh, her reaction is fake, this is stupid, all that kind of thing, right?
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely a way to get your genuine reaction out of like a game you're diving into for the very first time. I mean, like you said, like with Phasmophobia, I remember booting it up, like, I think it was like half an hour before I was meant to go live. And I was going on with my, it was my mod, Sade. We both went on, and as soon as, like, do you know when you go into a house in Phasmophobia, and then it hits you with that music? Like the menacing music. And all the symbols are coming up. Like, genuinely, when before I got into the game, I thought, oh, this is going to be great. I'm just going to run in. I'm just going to be, making jokes, yelling at the ghosts. And as soon as I walked into that house and that music started playing, or the sound effects, I was just like, oh no, I've made a terrible mistake. And I'm like, maybe I can tweet out and say I'm not feeling well. just yet. Sorry, guys. No, can't do it.
I got a feeling. No, it's just funny because I remember. I think I was playing on when I was doing the Halloween special with my Star Force family, like squad streaming gang, right? And when I went over to when we raided Backsmasher, for him to close it off, he was like playing Phasm. I'm like, you know what? I'll jump in on a few, right? Funniest thing that happened, and J-Joe was there when it happened, was like I was a complete noob at this. Yeah. And then I see this like mini tiny ghost running up towards me. And the number one thing I say is like, oh, help, help, help. And I ended up dying. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, J-Joe wouldn't let go of that joke for like the longest time. And he like clipped it. He's like, yo, you sound like genuinely scared. I'm like, yo, I was.
Yeah. Yeah, what? Oh, man. So my mod and close friend has reminded me just there of a particular moment of Phasmophobia. Like, before we quickly move on and pretend that I'm not admitting this live to the world, it was a moment in Phasmophobia where I was with S Banks and my other mod Sade, and we were in. I don't know. Were you in that stream? Did you see that one where we were in like the school?
Don't believe so. Refresh my memory, dude.
So we went in, and I think this was the very first time we had tried the school level, and it was terrifying. Like, because it's like a bigger map, we were just used to playing, like houses and farmhouses. All I can say is, whoever thought to put like a farmhouse level is both genius and terrifying.
Yeah,
but
that's horrifying.
Oh, definitely. But with the school, it's like a whole new level. It's just so huge. You don't know what's around the corner. And I went to this room that the ghost kept messing with the lights. So I walked in first and I was like terrified. I was like in the edge of my seat, and my two friends like walked in the door behind me, and I didn't know until I turned right round. And as soon as I turned round, the lights just started flickering, and they were walking in, and one of my other mods like pressed the walkie-talkie button that makes your voice like echo throughout the game. So so he pressed it, and then he yelled the ghost's name. He said Maria, and I turned round and I came face to face with S Banks, and he was standing beside like a plant pot, which made me scream something awful. I just went, ah! That sounds so funny. Oh, and it is clipped. It is pretty much everywhere for everyone to enjoy. Yeah, I just jumped out my skin. I was like at the edge of my seat there.
Oh no.
But yeah, without playing Phasmophobia, I guess I wouldn't have as many good clips. Which is
no, exactly right. Like as like as terrifying as these horror games are, they really, really do make for the best clips. It's like at first you're embarrassed that it happened, But then
Yeah.
like after you're done streaming, you know, you're
Hmm.
relaxing, be like, okay, let's see what sort of
Yeah.
clips I have. You look back at it and you just laugh at yourself. I'm like, and in my
Yeah.
opinion, like if you're gonna do Twitch and like can't do that, I don't
Oh
know if you
no,
should be
definitely.
streaming. It might be a bit of a strong opinion. It's like I don't know if you
Yeah.
should be streaming if you can't like laugh at yourself once in a while, right?
Oh no, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like again going back to one of our mutual streaming friends, Naf Gaines. I can't remember what
Hmm.
stream it was. He turned around and said something like, I think it was like an embarrassing moment, and he basically responded by saying, "Oh, I'm doing this for the clips," or something like that. And it is. It's like it's kind of very brief, but it's like a true thing. It's like
It's very true.
yeah, it's like those are the highlights that you want to show people, like kind of showing the best of your stream, even
Yeah,
if that
exactly
is,
right.
even if that is screaming at a plant pot, which I swear I don't do in real life. Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
Oh man, like
Oh,
yeah, like
mm,
like the most scripted that it could ever get is
mhm.
like that, you know what I mean? It's like, well, I'm mainly just you're going into the mindset playing this scary game, and it's like I'm
Mhm.
just doing this to see what sort of clips I get, right? Like that's
Yeah.
the most scripted it gets in my opinion.
Although I
Mhm.
have to admit, it's like I don't know if you, when you were younger, you kind of watched the, like PewDiePie, Markiplier, those kind of like YouTubers when they
Oh,
played all
those
the
giants,
scary
hell
games.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like when they played like the scary games when they were just starting out, and that's what they kind of got popular for. And you see some of the clips, and you think, oh, that's so fake, or like some of
Mhm.
the screams are very exaggerated, over the top.
Yeah.
And and then when you play the game yourself, I mean, I think I brought this up in like a past Satsunami episode when my friend and I were talking about. I think we were talking about horror games, and it is one
Yeah.
of those things where it's like if you're watching someone else, you kind of watch them through the safety behind your monitor, and you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, that's so funny. I can't believe they jumped. And
Mhm.
then as soon as they say, "Oh, do you want to hold the controller?" You're like, "No, no. Why would I? Why would I want to play?"
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's like,
Oh my god, like I'm sure you know like my longtime viewer Dinah J, right? Like sometimes she would
uh-huh,
come over to play video games and I would be playing a
uh-huh,
scary game, right?
uh-huh,
And then
yeah.
this is the first time she ever found out about Outlast and she was like super interested in me, you know, playing it, right? Which
Oh
is what led to me
God.
streaming it.
Hmm.
And like she was over at the time when I was playing it and I'm like whenever I would die I'd be like, "Hey, did you want to try?" She'd be like, "No." You know, she was so scared.
See,
Yeah.
honestly, I remember when I got asked, it was for like a milestone. Someone was like, "Oh, you should definitely play Outlast." Pro tip for anyone out there listening: yeah, it is. It is very jump scare heavy.
It
Which
is.
I
It
know
is.
technically,
So damn
like,
scary.
yeah, I know there's like a debate where people are like, "Oh, is it? Oh, it's a cheap scare." It's still a scare.
It
It's
is.
still a
Regardless,
scare.
yeah.
Yeah, never again. And people are like, "Oh, when are you going to do Outlast 2?" And I'm like, never, never. Just Outlast 1 was like that kind of perfect level, I think. But yeah, Outlast 2, nah, not coming anytime soon. And I think as soon as I've said that, I think I'll probably get loads of messages saying, "Why aren't you doing Outlast 2?"
Right? I've like
Oh,
really it's just been that same viewer died of Jade. He's like, "When are you
yeah,
gonna play Outlast 2?" I was like, you
yeah.
know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Well, actually, I think Outlast Trials is supposed to be coming out soon, is it not? It's like
Outlast
a.
Trials?
So apparently that's like. This is great advertising for Outlast, by the way. It's
How
like.
convenient, you know?
Yeah, Outlast, the scariest game ever. So scary we can't play the sequel. And yeah, I think it's like a multiplayer version of Outlast. I don't quite
Hmm,
know what. Because initially it
that's
looked
interesting.
almost as if it was a VR game because they've all got like these goggles and headsets on. I don't know what it's about, but yeah, it seems as if it's a multiplayer game, which might be interesting, but it's. Yeah, I suppose we'll see.
For sure. It would
Yeah.
be definitely a like it'll be definitely like another fun if it does
Mhm.
take off, it'll be definitely another fun multiplayer
Mhm.
horror game, you know?
Oh yeah, it'll be. See, once it's out, I do think it'll probably be everywhere on Twitch.
Oh yeah.
Like everyone will be playing it and getting clips, and I'll be hidden in the corner going, "I'll buy it next month. It's fine."
Yeah, right. It's the same thing with me. Like everybody's going nuts when it comes. Like
Hmm.
as great as Cyberpunk looks, I'm like
Hmm.
everybody's been streaming it. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah. Like I remember my good friend Donna Spades. I don't know if he's in chat, but like
Hmm.
I remember he messaged me and he showed a picture of like the category of Cyberpunk 2077
Yeah.
on Twitch, and it said like there's 1.1 million viewers or something like that. And I'm like, that's
Jesus.
crazy. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, if I were to stream this, I'm not gonna get noticed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's only by like my tech community at that point.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I felt the same when I did the campaign for Call of Duty Cold War, and I think it was probably a couple of weeks after it was released. But even then, because I feel as if you stream a game like COD, even though it's got like the campaign, it's still going to be buried under that category of it's a Call of Duty game. Like, even if you're, like, it doesn't separate if you're going to do the multiplayer or single player, it's just it lumps you into the same thing. And especially with a game like that where it's just out and everyone's going to be interested in it, that's definitely not a good move.
Gotcha, yeah. I'll be honest, Satsu, when it comes to like COD, the last one I actually played was Black Ops, and that was when I was still like in high school.
Oh, Black Ops, honestly, it's probably a good game to end on. I think that's when it was...
Really?
I don't know, like, some of the other games after it were alright, but I feel as if... Because, again, like in a past episode of Satsunami, my friend and I had like this long discussion about the Black Ops series, and I think we came to the conclusion that Black Ops 1 was definitely our favourite, and just any other Black Ops game after that was just... It just kept going down. It just went down and down and down until we reached Black Ops 3, and yeah, the less said about Black Ops 3, the better. That was just a hot mess.
That's fair.
It's just...
I'll take your word for that, dude.
Yeah, I started off, as you know that meme where it's like, oh, I'll just say one or two words about this, and then 2 seconds later, I've got like a whole manifesto saying, and another thing about Black Ops 3. It's
oh god, yeah. I relate to that meme so hard, you know.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, moving on from bad Call of Duty games, which definitely is a topic in itself.
I feel like it's just a topic of like the Satsu community in general, or what do you call yourselves, like the Satsu Society? Is that what your little community is called? Satsu? I want to get the
I mean, unofficially, like our Discord server, we've called ourselves the Satsunami Society or Satsu Society. Probably Satsu Society is easier. Although I don't know if you've ever heard the story of like the name I've got for subscribers.
What is
so? I'm going to preface this now for anyone who might be offended by this, but
oh no,
it's not as bad. It's not as bad. Sorry. Just a quick oh no,
oh no.
Anyway, so I was doing for. I think it was like for it was for 500 followers that I'd got. Ooh. And I said I would play 6 hours of Sonic 06. So I was playing that, and I was halfway through the game, and someone subscribed, and that kind of sparked a discussion. I was like, what should we call it? Because everybody's got like a cool name, for their subscribers. So I know another streamer, I don't know if you've seen her, called Stubborn Zombie, that's it. She calls
she's so cool.
Yeah, she really is. She calls her subscribers the Horde.
Which is dope.
Yeah, it's so cool. And I know you call yours the School, isn't it?
We're the School, yeah.
The School, the School. Yeah. So see, these are very thematically linked names, right? So I was like, I'm racing through like this glitchy hell of a game, and I'm like, right guys, I wonder what we should call, because at that point I didn't have a name at all. And my mod, quick as a flash, he did not hesitate. He just pulled the trigger and he said, "Simp Tsunamis," and I was like, yeah. And I was like, right, anybody else? And my friend then kicked in and he was like, yeah, if no one replies in 0.2 seconds, that's what we're calling ourselves.
Oh my god.
So
it's funny though.
Yeah.
Because when I put you on the stream record, I put that in as a joke. I didn't know that was your actual fandom name.
It sounds like yeah, like the official name for like, newcomers, definitely the Satsu Society. For unofficial, is see, once you're in deep enough, and you like buy your way into the Satsu Society, yeah, it's the Simp Tsunamis. My god, I feel as if it's a really shitty pyramid scheme. Oh, it gets worse. As you go down, it's like, oh no.
Hey, Satsu, speaking of being a Simp Tsunami, give me a sec here.
Yeah, no, go for it.
Here. Should kick in right about now. Now you should probably check your chat.
I'm kind of looking with bated breath.
Oh, that's okay. There you go. Now look at your chat.
Thank you. Thank you.
Speaking of being a Satsunami,
Yeah.
hey, I'll keep up the good content, my guy.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, just for anybody listening in the future, that was Blowfishman, just subscribing. So thank you for that. No, thank you for that.
No problem, dude. No problem.
I really should have the chat on the left-hand side or the right-hand side or just somewhere, but
no worries,
yeah,
dude.
That'll be a 2021 problem. Cyberpunk 2021. I'll just keep delaying it until
future Satsu can deal with that,
Yeah.
and then it never gets dealt with.
Yeah, that guy's great. He knows it. Oh god. So yeah, speaking of actually something I've really wanted to ask you for a while, and I feel as if because we've known each other for a while, I was kind of too embarrassed to ask. So why not ask just now? Yeah, I was going to ask you about like the origin of your name, Blowfishman.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, like because I've always been
okay. Because don't worry, it's nothing like it's nothing super duper TOS, nothing like that. But like here's the so it was I believe we were heading into second year university. It was me and my university friends, right? So
yeah,
we have another friend of ours who follows both of us. He goes by Birdo Goosh, and another friend of ours called Jerry Berry, right?
Yeah,
that's all like their Twitch monikers. When I was heading into second year, like I would always rock like the buzz cut, like the army head cut. You know what I mean? Like no hair, just a regular buzz cut. That was like my thing, right?
Yeah.
And then when they first saw me in a buzz cut, they were just astonished, like they've seen God or something. I don't know. I'm like, guys, it's literally just me in a buzz cut. What's the big deal, right?
Yeah.
So like they were just shocked and all that, and then they would, tell me like they would like rip on me, calling me like, oh, like happy Buddha and all that. Yeah. Like, wow, just because I'm Asian, thanks guys, and all that, right? Like, it was all like in good fun.
Yeah.
And then we were all obsessed with Breaking Bad. You've watched Breaking Bad?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So do you remember? I believe it was like in season 2 or 3. Where Walter and Jesse are talking with each other in like some broken down motel. Okay, so I think Walter was trying to tell Jesse to like basically get his money back because someone stole his money, or like someone stole his meth or something like that.
Oh
right?
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And then he's just like, well, it was all like, Jesse, like you've been in this game longer than I have, and we both know that you should not be messed with. So, like something along the lines of that, right? And then he's all like, Jesse, you got to show these punks who you really are. You're a blowfish, Jesse. You're a blowfish, you puff up. You seem soft, but you puff up in defense, like stuff like that. So that's where it really came from. And then because of that whole line triggered just this whole thing and then they're all like, hey, Steve, hey, Blowfish man, like puff up your cheeks for us. So I did that. I couldn't stop laughing because they thought I'd look like a blowfish whenever I'd puff up my cheeks with like a shaved head. So that's the origin of the name.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's actually a better origin story than mine.
Wait, what is yours? I'm so curious.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a weird one. Like, that way when people say, oh, you should join, like if you're going to join Twitch and you're going to be a streamer, you should join with like a name that's like easy to pronounce. Yeah, I made that mistake when I came up with this name. Because honestly, it was kind of similar. It began when I was in university, and it was my friend and I, we were just chilling out, and I'm very big on puns and jokes like that. So I can't remember what it was we were talking about, but I said we saw like some fruit lying around, and we were talking just about like different puns and things, and I said, oh look, it's a pile of satsumas, and then I was like, oh, it's a satsuma tsunami, and then I was like, a Satsunami.
Oh my god.
But it's weird because I kind of sat on it for a while. Not the Satsumas, by the way. That's disgusting.
Yeah, that would be dark. I'd be like,
they weren't
Satsu,
even.
are you okay?
They weren't even mine. I think it was someone else, someone had bought in, and they were just like, yeah. So they like left them there. I left, for any future person listening to this recording, I left the Satsumas alone. But yeah, I used to have a very generic gamer tag. It was like so generic, and I was just like, I should really change this. Yeah, no, it wasn't even. Yeah, it was that I changed it to eventually, but it was like it was something that I had been meaning to change for a while, but because that was like my 3rd year of university, and like I came up with the joke. I was like, haha, very funny. Gave myself a high five as my friend like looked at me in disgust as if, what are you what are you even doing with your life?
Oh god. Oh no.
Oh no. No. And then just eventually like I can't remember when, but it was some point I just thought, yeah, I better change my gamer tag, because it was getting to that stage. I was like, you know, that way when a lot of people, don't worry, it wasn't like a XXX, you know, 360 no scope XXX. It wasn't as bad as that. It was just like,
imagine.
Yeah, but it's like, you know how a lot of like kids and things, when they first get their Xboxes or PlayStations or whatever, that's what they use. They'll use like those kind of names, and then eventually they change them. I felt as if for mine, I was just like, yeah, I better change this. And then when I was joining Twitch, you know, initially I was just going to call myself Satsunami, but it wouldn't let me because it was taken. But I think the more I think about it, the more I think it was actually an old account that I used to have. When I signed up like ages ago, I wasn't like streaming or anything. I think I might have just signed up for something completely different, and I just like left it. But then I forgot like the password and everything, and I was just like, yeah, no, time to make a new one. So that was it. That was how Satsunami 42 came to existence.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was. So yeah, that was
so funny.
Yeah,
because I'm like, when you brought up like the whole like, oh, you know, people have ridiculous online names like XXX420, like 360 no scope. I'm like, that's so true. You don't know how ridiculous those names can get.
Yeah, I don't know what's worse, like the name itself, or when you're playing an online game and a player like that ends up beating you several times. And you're just like, oh, for
you're
God's
so
sake.
embarrassed. You're like, how old are you, dude? Like, bro.
Yeah, by this point, you know, XXX Thunderweed 420 XX is like, you know, he's sitting in his apartment, you know, 30 years old, and he's looking out wisely as he loads in Cold War, just like, time to get back into the game.
Or as you know, as a Fat Thor would say, was it Noob Master 69 or something like
that's
that? That's what I think of.
God. So moving on, like from like the origin of your name, so this is something I'm quite interested in as well, because it's something that I get really interested in with a lot of streamers. But how did you get introduced into streaming? Like, what was your point where you were like, I want to try this, I want to try streaming?
Oh, dude.
Yeah,
it all started in like my no worries. Like it's like a little bit of a long story.
Yeah.
But like how I first got interested in streaming was, okay, so in university, you know, it was like I was just watching some pretty big names that I didn't know who streamed, right? They would just drop YouTube videos and then that was it before they took up streaming. One of those big names, and you've probably heard it around, to be honest, Satsu in the Twitch world, Lily Pichu, if anyone in chat as well. Yeah, like I used to watch her before she had a face cam. So that's how far back this went, you know what I mean? So I used to watch her when she was just a pure League streamer and would make like funny League highlight videos, and then I would know her as the girl who sounded like she was like 10, but she was like way older than I am, which is true. So, you know, like watching her videos, I always like had a laugh because I'm like, this girl is like, she has to be 10. There's no way, you know what I mean? But like her videos are so funny because of the tone of her voice, right? And then it started to branch out into other League streamers. Like, I don't know if you've heard of like Trick2G or any like have you heard of that guy?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, I was like, I was mainly just watching a lot of League streamers back in the day, right? Because that's all I really played in university. And then I thought, I was like, you know, one day, once I figure out the means on how to stream, like what sort of things I need, like I'd want to give it a shot, because like it seems like these guys are having fun. You know, they're making money off of it. Even better. That's all I thought of as like a young university student, right? Yeah. It's like basically the whole doing what you love sort of like motive, I suppose. So like that was like my influence into streaming. And fun fact, you know, like after university, I was just like, okay, like, are we gonna try this out, or like, what's up? What are we gonna do, right?
Yeah.
So I had to like think to myself, I was like, okay, if I'm gonna pursue any sort of thing that had to require like creating a community or like building an online presence, what happened? For those who like, this is like way before the BlowfishmanTV channel even existed on Twitch. BlowfishmanTV was originally on YouTube as a voice acting channel.
Oh, nice.
So I would drop a bunch of like, it wasn't like really voice acting now that I look back at it. I'd drop a bunch of like impersonations of a bunch of League characters that I would do. You know what I mean? I really loved League at the time. I loved imitating like all the characters' lines, quoting them, and try to like matching their tone of voice and all that. Yeah. And that's how this all started. But then, you know, like you heard about the story about the new like YouTube algorithm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like after that hit, like my videos just started tanking. Like I would get like 100 views per video to like 10. You know, like that sort of discouraged me. I'm not gonna lie. yeah, like I'd be like, okay, like, usually I would consistently get like 100 viewers, which I was cool with because like I was starting off small. I was like, I didn't expect to get a million or like 1,000 views right off the bat, right?
No,
So I was thinking, I'm like, why am I like putting in all this work for video editing, audio editing, and all that just for like this amount of views, right? Like it
mhm.
sounds a little bit entitled to think that, but it sort of discouraged me from doing YouTube,
Yeah.
right?
No, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it's something that people who watch videos like take into account. Like there was a
Mhm.
video I made, I think it was a week or two ago, and it literally
Yeah.
only is just over 4 minutes. But the
Mhm.
video itself, like, it took me about a day or two to actually make, and it just took so it took me like a couple of hours to actually write up like a script for it and everything, and then
Mhm.
the next day I decided, oh, I'm going to edit it, and that took me nearly
Mhm.
the whole day. But it's
Jeez.
like when you like take that video and then you condense it into this small edited piece that you're going to put out there, and then
Mhm.
not many people are going to respond to it. Yeah, I agree. I totally see how you would feel, disappointed that it didn't do so well.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, it is. It's like all that work that you're putting into it for, yeah, not like a lot of return, which, no, I totally agree with you.
And then like now looking back at it, like I just see a bunch of people who just stream on Twitch or like any other platform,
Yeah.
and then they like drop like monthly highlight videos, and I'm like, maybe low key I might want to go into that direction because like I also do love video editing too, right? So
Yeah.
like I have a lot of fun with it despite it being super tedious work at times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I was thinking of like I'll ask the chat later on probably in like the new year. I was like, hey, like did you guys want to see like a monthly like highlight reel of like every month, and then you would get it at the end of the month for like YouTube or something like that, something simple like that, right?
Yeah. Just kind of following up from it, what were your first impressions of like Twitch as a whole before you got into it?
You like I got into streaming.
It's a bit weird because I know like YouTube seems like quite a different, I mean for me personally, but YouTube seems like quite a different world
It
compared
is
to
100%.
Twitch. It's
It
like
is.
I remember like hearing about Twitch, and personally for me, like I wasn't really into Twitch until like I started streaming. Like
Hmm.
I'd tried going into it like just to watch people, and I just didn't get it. I
Yeah.
just couldn't get why people were sitting and watching people live and things. And obviously, like now, my whole view's completely different. Whereas for
Yeah.
YouTube, it was like all this content kind of coming out, but it was like a lot more polished, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Whereas it seemed as if for Twitch, there was this stereotype, which is completely untrue, by the way, but it was almost that stereotype that all you have to do in Twitch is just shove on the camera and you're going to get like hundreds of thousands of views,
Yeah. That's
which,
a total stereotype.
yeah, absolutely. What were your kind of expectations of like going
Okay.
into Twitch?
Like when I first started streaming,
Yeah.
like dude, like honestly, when I was looking at Twitch comparing it to YouTube, what I felt like watching just random streamers before I even started up my own stream was more just like, okay, like how I see it is that for Twitch, you know, there's I feel like there's less pressure when it comes to like any sort of thing that has to do with video on Twitch.
Yeah.
Because like it's all live. I'm one for improvising if things go south, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
Yeah.
like that's the thing, right? So to me, like there's less pressure in that aspect to like have mistakes because hey, even mistakes on Twitch can be really funny to
Oh,
look
yeah.
back at, right? And like for that reason, for me, it was like less pressure to feel not feel scared about doing this, right? Getting out there, like putting out content, right? And then compared to YouTube, where like you would put in like hours for like a 3 5 minute video, like 3 to 5 minute video, right? And then like get only like 10 people watching it. I think that's what attracted me to Twitch. I'm like, look, like even if there's only like one or 100, 1,000 people in chat, my mindset going into streaming was more just like do it for yourself, do it for the fun. Otherwise, if I don't do it for those reasons, for me at least, like I'm not gonna last long, right? Like I'm just gonna get like discouraged over and over again. And like I always kept that mindset in lock, right? I was like, if I'm entertaining one person, I will talk to that one person for the whole stream. Like it's
Yeah.
literally happened in my early days, and it was like the most fun I've had in like during the COVID times, right? I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
it's like yeah, at least I'm like like I want to be interactive with the viewers, right?
Yeah.
So that was my thing. I love that sort of idea of interactivity when it comes to streaming.
It definitely feels a lot more personal, I have to say.
Mhm.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, and this is like Satsunami confession here, but I've tried making videos like when I was younger, and I mean like going back into, you know, school days. I like used to have, and I don't know if you guys like had it over where you are. It was a social media site called Bebo.
I've never heard of that, but
Yeah.
you did mention it on your streams. I was like, what's that?
Yeah, so I honestly, I'm convinced it was like a UK slash like European only, or not only, but not many people in like the US and Canada and that side of the world like used it. But Bebo was like just like a proto kind of social media site. It was great. It was like before the days of, you know, copyright and everything, and I mean it was great for its time before like everyone moved on to Facebook. But I used to have like a gaming group with my like just a couple of friends that I had in school. Yeah, it was kind of interesting in that way because that was the days where it's like you could download like the audio from YouTube videos. I mean, you still can technically, but it was like you would do that and kind of put in the, you know, the audio into like videos and things. And I have to admit, the videos I did were like kind of stupid compilation videos and things like really like basic. Like this was made in Windows Movie Maker, where I just spliced everything together, and that was kind of interesting to me at the time. But then I kind of not fell out of love with it, but it was like as people were moving on to like Facebook, the group kind of just died down, and I kind of moved away from YouTube. But I always saw like people going, like other content creators on YouTube make all of this stuff, and it's probably for the best that I didn't have like a good computer at the time or like access to a camera. Otherwise, I would be known as that Scottish guy who makes an ass of himself, volume 12 or something like that.
Yeah.
So fortunately I didn't have that. Although technically, and I'm not going to reveal what it is because it's so embarrassing, but there is a video, not of me, but there is a video that I had made years ago. It was like a sprite video. And I remember it was 10 years ago I made this. And apparently now it has, I'll tell you after. Basically, I think that got like 8.5 thousand views or something from 10 years ago.
Oh,
and
shit. Whoa, damn.
It's because I used audio from how to put this? I used audio from Dragon Ball Z, that's all I'll say.
What?
And yeah, it was, yeah, like I can see why it was successful because it was just such a stupid, it wasn't a Dragon, just for context, it wasn't a Dragon Ball Z video. But oh my god, it was just so embarrassing when I was like looking at it, and I was just like, how is this? It's like now I'm kind of trying to put like good content out, and I'm like, how after 10 years has this got like 8.5 thousand views? And everything I'm doing now, like mine's barely have like 100. In fact, they barely have 50. Never mind 100. And I'm like, how?
Satsu, oh my god. The funniest thing, like when you told me that story, it just hit me about a video that I dropped years ago on when BlowfishmanTV was still on YouTube and was a voice acting channel, right? So do you remember that one viral video of that one red panda that got scared of the rock and was like literally backing away from it?
Oh, I'm familiar.
Like, that like went viral. So what I did was a little bit of context here is that before I get into what the video was, do you remember an internet legend who's currently known as Joji, named Francis of the Filth or Filthy Frank?
Oh yes, the
one who used to talk like this all the time. You like that? Right?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
So what I did was like I was like also super into Filthy Frank at the time, right? So I was like, you know what we're gonna do is like we're gonna take this video of this scared, adorable little red panda, and then we're gonna give it Frank's voice, like give it like make a reaction based off like improv that I had in my head. And then like you know how many views that video got?
Oh god, tell me.
It was like it got like 5.8K views, and then like there's so many people commenting on it, and then like there's this one guy's like, oh my god, I found this on iFunny and it made my day. This is such a good video. I'm like, what? It's on iFunny? That was literally me. I was like, I made it onto iFunny? What the hell? And I'm pretty sure that was the last video I dropped.
Yeah. Were you just telling everyone that day, like, like, look, I've made it. I'm on iFunny.
Pretty much. Yeah. I'm on iFunny, guys. Look at that.
Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my god. I can see why that would go viral, right enough.
Yeah, because like at the same time, Filthy Frank was still super popular.
Oh yeah. And that's a blast from the past. Because it is, it's honestly like, see when you go back to like channels you used to watch when you were growing up and like channels that inspire you and you're like, oh, where are they now? And then you're like, oh, they're either no longer like uploading or the new stuff that they're uploading is just it's not as good maybe. I mean it does happen, which and one day it'll happen to me.
Oh,
Oh my god.
yeah.
So kind of following on from that, have you got any favourite moments? Like just like, when we're kind of reminiscing there about like content creation, have you got any favourite moments from streaming?
Right now, ooh, there's a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Well, the quickest thing that comes to mind was that pop that I got just for holding a funeral for my monitor.
Oh yeah.
That that's like the first thing that came to mind just now. The second funniest thing that ever happened. Well, obviously my only 2 wins in Fall Guys. They were both clipped. I was just so happy that day. Yeah, honestly, like those are so far the 3 things that come to mind.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know if you saw this out of context clip when I was playing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah.
Banks clipped it. I was laughing so much, right? I think currently like this probably takes the cake as of right now, where it's like I was fighting. Well, you mind spoilers? Because I know you probably want to
go for it.
right? Okay, so you're basically fighting Dio when he's like super powered and he calls himself Dio over heaven, right? I'm sure
yeah.
And you know, it was the whole fight was basically like Jotaro and Jolin versus him, right? And you know, I run up to him and I give him a star finger, right? And it
Jesus.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on stream. Might get you in trouble. I was like, I just star finger at bro, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I realized what it said and I bursted out laughing. And I got like 5 of the same, like chat flooded me. It's like, what did you just say? And like, I just see the same clip like posted 5 times.
Oh no.
I couldn't stop laughing. Like, oh god, what did I say?
Oh, that is
Really, that's the favorite moment right now.
Oh, that is the worst. See when you're like right into the game and then you say something and then it's either you catch yourself before that and you do a kind of and start from
yeah, pretty much.
Or you just go ahead and you outright say it and you're just like, yeah, probably shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, I was like laughing because I realized what I said like a second after and I'm like, oh my god, the chat flooded me with the same clip.
Oh my god.
That was too good.
That
was so funny.
That's actually amazing.
What about you, dude? Like any favorite moments from your stream that could come to mind?
I mean, other than the Phasmophobia one where I just like kept screaming screaming at everything. In fact, there's a good Outlast moment where I can't even remember what it was. That was it. So basically, there's a moment where you're walking through like this garden, and I was getting annoyed because I kept getting lost. You know, like it wasn't very clear about where you were supposed to go, and I finally found the way to go. And you can hear it on like the clip. I turn around and I say something like, "Oh, thank God, I finally worked out a puzzle." And as soon as you walk round, there's like lightning that flashes, and then one of the main enemies that stalks you throughout the entire, the big pig man guy, or the guy that calls you Little Pig, like he just appears right in front of you, and I let out the most blood curdling and I would just scream. And I honestly, like, I don't know what, I make a stroke quite a lot, but I genuinely don't know what my neighbours must think when I'm playing a game like that, and just all they hear is me just screaming, and they'll just be like, there goes that Satsu boy again, just streaming.
What's he up to this time? He's probably, you know, playing some stupid horror game, you know.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised. I suppose beyond, you know, favourite, like, moments for myself, you know, where I just, like, scream or, you know, basically, I was going to say make an ass of myself, but I suppose that's kind of that is part and parcel of being a streamer. When you're just like...
That's literally, like, half the job.
Yeah,
half the time.
exactly. And it's as you said,
know?
Yeah, it's as you said, like, if you can't laugh at yourself, you know, with these clips, then yeah, it's like it feels as if like streaming is definitely like a personal thing. Like when 100%. You've got like an audience or you've got the chat there that are talking to you, they're supporting you, and I mean I've had loads of moments like that where people have come into the chat and they've said, "Oh, I'm not having a good day," or they've said, you know, "Oh, I'm just coming here to chill," and I don't know, like especially with the Outlast stream, I was really surprised at that. There was there was a person who was like, "Oh, I'm just back from school, or I'm just back from this or that, or I've just not been having a good day, you know, and
Hmm.
I'm just hoping that a bit of Outlast cheers me up." Which I have to admit, weird choice of game to cheer yourself up at.
100%.
But at the same time, I mean, it's happened in other games, but like the fact
Yeah.
that if someone turns round and says, you know, "Oh, as long as, you know, as long as I'm like cheering them up or hoping to cheer them up, then
Hmm.
I mean that is quite a wholesome thing." Like
It
I
is.
think,
No, like it's so
yeah,
nice.
going back like really far to when I started streaming, I have to admit I only had like a handful of friends who would check out my streams, and those were just like real life friends. And don't get me wrong,
Hmm.
like I do, like I absolutely appreciate them. They're amazing people, but it almost felt as if like I was constantly streaming to them, but I wasn't really getting an audience around that. And I know,
Hmm.
like, looking back on it, I know why. Like, I didn't put myself out there enough. And yeah, there was, like, a lot of things that I could have done better back then, but it was getting me really down. Like, I was kind of thinking, what am I doing wrong where other people are doing the exact same game? But yet
Yeah.
they are getting better. You know, they're getting like lots of views, and I'm doing the exact same thing, and I'm not. And you know, like there are
Hmm.
reasons. There's definitely reasons for it. Like I remember I was doing Sonic 0, not Sonic 06. God, imagine that. No, it was Sonic Adventure, and there was this random streamer who came in. So his name was MTRZ Gaming, who is quite a regular in the chat. Really nice guy,
Hmm.
and he just started chatting to me like through the chat, and I was chatting to him, and it was kind of weird because it's like you know how you get your first person in the chat that
Yeah.
you don't know that starts chatting
Hmm.
to you. So initially, like I was quite wary. I was kind of like, "Oh, who's this?"
Same.
Yeah, and then like eventually you kind of let your guard down when they turn out they're not too bad. And I remember like as I was closing the stream, I was like, I did my usual, you know, like, "Oh, thank you guys for coming," and you know, so on and so forth. I don't mean that in a bad way, by the way. Like, "Oh, thank you guys,
No, no,
bye."
yeah.
Um, but I
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
100%.
yeah, but I was like, here, you know, like, "Oh, see you later." And before I was about to close the stream, he sent a message like in the chat saying, I can't remember what it was. It was something like, "Oh, by the way, I dropped you a follow because at that time I didn't know what Streamlabs was."
Hmm.
Because I was like streaming directly from my Xbox. So I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, thank you." You know, I thanked him. I was like, "Oh, thank you." And then he turned
Hmm.
around and he said, "Oh, no problem. I really enjoyed your stream."
That's always
And
so nice to hear from a viewer, man.
yeah, and it's especially like because don't get me wrong, like as I said, I really like appreciate my friends for like supporting me and dropping in and
Of
everything.
course.
But
Yeah.
it's like, see when a random, like when I mean, I don't want to be like oh a random stranger, but you know when a stranger comes into like your chat, they watch your stuff, and then they're just like out of the blue, they just turn around and they say, "Oh, yeah, no problem. I really enjoyed your content." It's kind of quite a boost.
Oh yeah, 100%. I
Yeah.
get that stuff too. Like all the Joe Bros that jumped in, I was
Uh-huh.
like the very first JoJo stream I did, I was like, look, the moment that they realized they don't
Yeah.
just play JoJo, I'm gonna get a bunch of
Yeah.
unfollows. It was nice while it lasted, right? Because I've had that happen where like I'm not gonna name any names, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I used to stream a lot of Fall Guys every Friday, right? With like
Hmm.
Bronx and Jay Joa.
Yeah.
And then there was a random viewer who wanted to play, and he was really cool, super cool dude. And then when he realized I wasn't a Fall Guys streamer, he just up and dipped, right? So I was like, oh, well, that's cool. Thanks. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
expecting
Hmm.
that kind of thing from all the Joe Bros who stuck around, which is awesome.
Hmm.
And yeah, and then they always say, like, oh, I had a crappy day at school, but like, hey, at least Blowfishman streaming, you know what I mean? I was like, that, like, that,
Yeah.
like, every time they put that, I'm just like, guys, that's so much that, like, this is why wholesome is there. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? To cheer, not only for me to help you cheer you guys up,
Yeah.
but like, I like doing it, which is why I don't mind if that channel point redemption is spammed. I'm like, sure,
Yeah.
that's like
Mm.
a wholesome spam. I don't mind that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and talking about one of my favorite moments, it was when you found me through that raid. When I don't know if you were for this raid when when he was still Natho,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
he raided me the first time, and I had like I was going after the gothic dad love interest in Dream Daddy,
Hmm.
and I was like wearing black lipstick and like an Avenged Sevenfold T-shirt and like black jeans. I
Hmm.
had like a whole goth look, fake septum piercing.
Hmm.
Like that was like the funniest day. Like that was the funniest outfit I ever pulled off.
Hmm.
And I feel like it also brought in a lot of new people. Because of that, I wouldn't have never met Naf, and I wouldn't have probably never met you, dude. Which
Hmm.
is kind of funny how things work out, right?
It really is. It's like the randomness of Twitch. But 9 times out of 10, like the friends you make on Twitch are so random. Like,
Actually, though.
because it is, it's like, I think, obviously because of NAF, because the reason that I came across NAF Games was because of, and this is going to be really weird as well, but my friend who goes by the name Green Shield 95 on Twitch, really awesome guy, I went to university with him,
Nice.
and he was actually there, he was actually there when I came up with the Satsunami pun. That was that was a friend I was talking about. Yeah, we were playing. So every Friday, it kind of became a bit of a tradition that we would play like a kind of co-op game, and we were playing a Pokemon Emerald Nuzlocke. And it was
Oh,
really interesting because I think Naf has said like on his stream that he is a huge fan of Pokemon Emerald. Like, I think
yeah.
he's done it himself. I could be wrong in that, but I'm 90% sure. Because I know he's done, like, a lot of Pokemon games.
He has.
I'm sure he did. But anyway, so we did a Pokemon Emerald Nuzlocke together, and he, like, randomly dropped in. I can't remember what, like, maybe it was just passing or what it was, but he just dropped in, and he was a really chill guy. I just remember talking to him and talking about like shared like experiences and things like that. And then it was one day when and I feel like almost I'm calling him out for like my own laziness, but there was one day where I had to like do my gardening because it was honestly looking like Jumanji out there. And I looked at my phone, I saw Naf was online, and I thought, you know what, I'll give him a follow, I'll give him a lurk, because I was like, yeah, he was kind enough to come to the stream, so I'm gonna go and like see what this guy is all about. And then as soon as I got in, like I heard him do the voice, and it's kind of similar to you. It was like as soon as I heard him do the voices, the energy, just everything, like the
Yeah.
presentation and everything, it was just that was it. It was like I was hooked. And I'm kind of like, on the one hand, I'm like, I've got to cut my grass, but on the other hand, I'm looking at my phone like, this stream is really good.
It's like,
Yeah.
should I be responsible today, or should I leave it for future Satsu and like a week
Yeah.
later? That
Oh
sort of
yeah,
thing.
yeah. See, future that. So he is such a great guy because he picks up
Seems
all
like
of
it.
my flack, honestly.
Mhm.
Whether it be saying, "Oh, I'll update later," or yeah, that
Yeah.
is by the way one of the banes of my existence. See, like, see, going to play a game. So this was kind of like a running joke between me and so I've got two other friends, one of which is Banks, and the other one is a friend who like co-hosts Chatsunami on Wednesdays, Adam. Basically, like when I was starting off, I don't know if I've said this like live on stream, but when I began, I was doing like a Pokemon Nuzlocke run, but because my
Yeah.
computer that I got, I don't want to talk bad about it, but my friend gave me like an old computer he was getting rid of, but it
Yeah. Oh, wow.
wasn't, I mean, it was like someone gave him one, and then he was like, oh yeah, you can hold on to it for a while. So I was like, oh great, it means I can maybe start streaming with it.
Mhm.
And yeah, it just unfortunately did not work. It kept like crashing every so often. So
Mhm.
like I have got like the old clips like on my YouTube channel. It's not a good run. It's not like it's like the very very early days when I was just getting into streaming, and it was just like me and my friends talking and things like that. And those were the days when I was kind of like I started like doing it irregularly, and I was just like maybe streaming's not for me. And I kind of considered like at that point thinking maybe I should just quit streaming. But
Oh,
I'm really glad I didn't. I'm glad I just kept persisting because there was a period where I kept streaming and then I stopped for like a week or two, and there was like
yeah.
a huge gap where I was just like, oh, I don't really know. And then I kind of got back into it because I started streaming directly on the Xbox, which is a
Mhm.
whole lot easier. It's just click a button, that's it. You don't have to worry about anything else. But
Mhm.
then some of my friends were like, do you want to do a co-stream? And I was like, yeah, why not? And we did a GTA 5 co-stream.
Nice.
And
That
it
sounds
was, yeah, it was like just a very kind of casual, stream messing about. Like the collaboration, oh, not collaboration, what do you call it? The compilation, that's the other word I'm looking for.
compilation.
Yeah, the compilation. I've got Saturday brain. It's just,
That's okay, dude.
yeah.
Like, I know the feel. I know the
Oh,
feel.
yeah. But yeah, the compilation video is up on YouTube, and it's just like it's got the best bits of like a 3 hour stream. I think it was yeah, it was. I think up until I did my 6 hour stream of Sonic 06, that was my longest stream that I'd ever done, because the way I got into streaming was like I really wanted to do content creation, and I have tried like a lot of things. Like I've tried YouTube, I've tried like writing and things like that. I've tried like a lot of things. I even tried a blog at one point, which, yeah, hit or miss. But yeah, eventually, like, one of my friends was like, "Oh, why don't you try Twitch?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know." And yeah,
Yeah,
no,
no, that feels good, dude.
because I'm not like, don't let, I was gonna say, don't let my friends or anyone else convince you otherwise. I am not a confident person in real life,
Oh,
like
you're
in Twitch.
doing good right now,
Oh,
dude.
thank
In
you.
my
No,
opinion.
like, it's weird because I don't know if you feel like this, but like, on Twitch, it almost feels like not that you're a different person. Like when I'm stepping into like streaming, I feel as if I'm stepping in to be Satsunami, if you know what I
Yeah,
mean. Like it's like
I catch your drift. Yeah.
yeah. Whereas like as soon as I turn off the computer and everything, I just go back to being, just. I was gonna say, yeah, just off-stream Satsunami, I suppose is the right term. Kind of.
Satsu after hours.
Yes, Satsu after hours, exactly. That's what you have to pay a premium for. If you want to be a Simpsonami, then get your wallet out.
You should all of you in chat tier 3 Sim Tsunamis. Let's go to
Yeah.
get that, Satsu after dark content. Come on.
It's like that meme where it's like, attention, all Simpsonamis. Satsunami need your help. Man, I should
Such a good meme.
see if he still does that. I'm actually tempted now. I'm actually tempted
Yeah,
to
like
commission
but
it and be
Satsu,
like,
going back to
sorry.
your point, like, I do my very best to try to be like sort of similar online and offline, but like after I turn off the camera, I just go eat. I just chill, right?
Yeah.
I read manga, I listen to music. I work with Backsmasher, who's the guitarist of Teach Child, our little record label / artist group, all that kind of thing. And like I'm just really just chilling at home, like just doing my own thing.
Yeah.
Whereas you've seen me on Blowfishman, and I was like, wholesome and
Yeah.
all that kind of thing, and like me
Yeah.
laughing at like little things, and yeah.
Because I think I have to admit, obviously, because I know we are kind of just like at the starting point of Twitch, but
We are.
it's like see like the huge streamers that you see that have got like a chat that like honestly, if you touch the chat, your hand would just come right off because it's going so fast, like up and up. And it's like they're not like, obviously they can't keep up with the chat because it's going so fast, but it's like if you're making that if they're making it their profession or their career and they're having to go like 100% all the time and kind of keep up this persona, like eventually you're going to get burned out. Like as you said, like what you do, I think that's great that you manage just to switch off and kind of go into other hobbies or interests or things like that, because otherwise if you're 110% like into streaming and like like if you're dedicating all your waking hours to streaming, you're gonna get burned out eventually,
like so quickly, right?
Yeah, because I mean, there's loads of videos. I don't know if have you seen those videos where it's like the top Twitch tips and advice and all of this.
Oh yeah, by like Alpha Gaming or something.
Yeah, but it's like it's not even those ones. It's like the ones that are probably like a couple down from them, and they're like, oh, to do it, you have to. They talk about a thing called the grind, and it's like, oh, if you want to be a Twitch streamer, you have to, stream every day. You have to be, all of this. Like, I can see what they're trying to get at. Like, they're in the mindset of, I don't know, like the Wolf of Wall Street mindset, I suppose, where it's like,
like go big, go home kind of thing,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, you have to like get right in there. You have to promote your brand and everything. And on the one hand, I can see what they mean. I can see that putting your all into something, that is important. I get that.
It is.
Yeah, but if you're doing that constantly, you're gonna get tired, you're gonna get burned out. Like, that is one of the things like I have to admit I struggle with, having a lot of like streaming friends who are in different time zones, because it is really annoying, because like, especially with you as well, because you're streaming over there and there's about what, a 4-hour time difference between us, I think.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 hours.
4 or 5, yeah. And it's difficult sometimes if you're starting later. And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of people that I want to support, but I can't because it just doesn't match up, which is a shame, because...
It's a shame.
Yeah, I hate time zones, I have to say.
Time zones are a pain, dude.
Yeah.
But then there's always those special exceptions. Like, for example, I don't know if you were there yesterday on my stream, but like Bims, who's a viewer of mine from Austria, the guy was just like, oh, I should go to sleep because it's like 4 a.m. over here. Well, like, you're streaming. So I was like, dude, go to sleep. Don't worry about it. I'm here 3 times a week. Like, I always tell all my viewers, like, you guys don't have to be here for the whole stream.
Yeah.
If you guys are gonna pop in for 5 minutes because you have other things to do,
Mm-hmm.
that's fine. Like saying
Yeah.
hi, saying bye. Like at least I know you came through. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't have to stay like for the whole 3-4 hours. Like they really don't. Because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
real life, kicks in here and there, and you gotta deal with it at the end of the day.
Oh no, absolutely.
That's why I only do like streaming like 3 times a week, because like I don't know if I could be able to do it for 5 times a week. I was like, I don't think I'd be able to. Then I just start treating it like a job, and I don't really want to do that.
I mean, it is definitely important, like, to keep a schedule, like, to build up people, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's like what you said, it's like, if you're taking a hobby, like streaming, and then, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's like you're trying to, like, promote it and make it better all the time, but if you're constantly going like that and you're making it into a job and things, it's kind of stripping away the fun from it. Because
Exactly.
and I mean, this kind of leads on to like what I was going to ask next about
Sure.
what would you say is like the most important part of being like a Twitch streamer?
Me personally, dude, like I remember when I'm sure you've seen both of them in my chat, Diego, Brando, and Skittles, when they first joined my community, right? I was playing, Resident Evil 2 before a squad stream.
Yeah.
They both asked me, like, hey, like I want to start streaming someday. Like, what's your advice? And I still say this to like everyone who really wants to start up. I'm like, make sure you're making content that makes you happy. Make sure you're doing it for you. Obviously, streaming takes a lot of energy. It really does, right? Like, make sure that if you actually want to build a following, consistency is key. That's like one of the number one things, right? If you want to, and that so far has worked for me, right? I'm like, okay, like, my consistency is paying off, which is awesome, right? And it's a schedule that, and make sure that that schedule works for you, whether it's once, 3 times a week, 2 times a week, like so that your community knows when you're on, at least, like even if it's on, if you're on for like once a week, you know what I mean? Another thing is like, yeah, make sure you're doing it for fun, right? Because in my opinion, if you're not doing it for fun, I don't think you're going to last in streaming. And like, not to knock on people who want to do it for the money or do it for other reasons. That's their agenda. I'm not gonna tell them how to run their stream, live their life, all that kind of thing. But me personally, like I couldn't do it if I was just like, yeah, money's the number one thing on this. I'm gonna have to do it 5 times a week. Just make that money. I was like, I can't do that. I know so many, like, here's the thing, Satsu, like I'm friends with a bunch of people who have that mindset. It's like, I'm doing it for the money. I don't care what my job is. Like, it pays a lot. And I'm like, it's great and all, but I can't really do that. You know what I mean? I honestly couldn't, right? So that, like, my number one thing with streaming is go into it thinking you're gonna have fun with it. Number one thing. And and I told him, it's like, the moment you hit affiliate, like, don't expect like a fat paycheck of like $1 million, because then I was like, once your first paycheck's probably going to be like maybe 100 if you're lucky, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, don't mind the money. Money will come eventually, and then you'll figure things out, and yeah, it just all comes naturally. Don't force anything, right?
Oh no, definitely. I mean, there are a lot of kind of misconceptions, I think, and I think we discussed that earlier. But it's like the misconceptions of going into Twitch. I remember like watching a lot of YouTube videos, and there were a lot of people who like they kind of slated streamers as a whole, because you always got these fail compilations of top tier streamers that they slipped on camera, they said the wrong things, that kind of, there was such a negative kind of press around it, and I think definitely that does put a lot of people off, because it's that kind of negative bubble. Like, I heard like a lot of bad things about Twitch before I came on, which made me a bit nervous about it. I have to admit though, like, I haven't seen much of that so far. Like, don't get me wrong, I've seen like bits and pieces here and there, but I feel as if overall it's been like a very positive experience, and it's like definitely finding your community and finding your niche. Like, I mean, and I know I'm probably going to sound biased here, but I absolutely love the community, like, and the friends that I've made along the way. My
100%.
God, sorry, it sounds like a Hallmark movie where I'm like...
It sounds like an anime, but it's, like, as cheesy as it sounds, dude, it's very true at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I mean, it is, because you get this, as I said, like, going in, I was just expecting, oh God, here we go. You know that thing where it's from GTA where it's like, oh shit, here we go again. And it's like,
shit,
yeah, here we go again.
Oh,
and it's like you're walking towards Twitch, like away from YouTube, thinking, okay, I've not had any success there. Maybe if I try Twitch. But like, after I got past that threshold, like, I do think at the very beginning, the first 50 followers are the hardest to get. Because you're coming in like as a relatively unknown streamer, and unless you have like a huge following, Like, if you're like a voice actor, or I'm going to sound really old and be like, if you're a TikToker or, like, or a YouTuber, if you've already got a presence elsewhere and you jump in, you're going to get like a lot more, follows and views and things like that. That's expected. But if you're coming in from the bottom floor and you're just working your way up, those first 50, especially for me, like, I started in, I think it was like the end of March, like definitely either the end of March or early April. I think it was early April where I started like kind of pushing myself a lot more. Yeah, I didn't get to 50 until I think July, maybe. And that was a lot of me like spamming my links around, trying to get people to it sounds like so anime, being like, notice me, people.
Notice me, senpai. Yeah.
Notice me. But,
dude, like when I first started, man, like I was posting my link in like all the group chats I was in, right? And then eventually it came to the point, like say a month later, I was like, I kind of feel bad because, and then I remember I asked one of my group chats, like, hey, are you guys 100% cool with me doing this? Like, let me know, to just like, if anyone's not cool with it, like, feel free to tell me, just don't do it again. I like, don't do it. I was like, and I was just like, no, it's cool, because that way we know when you're on, right? Yeah. So I still feel bad doing it, though. I was like, but this is the group chat where we all talk, you know what I mean? And then now, like, I'm at a decent following where I'm like, I don't even need to do that anymore. It's all going to be on Discord. Or, you have like crazy folks like Darky and Sicko on Twitch who just pop in. Shout outs to them. Like right when we start, I'm like, isn't it like midnight for you guys? Like, I don't care. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Like it gets to that point, right? And now I don't really need to do that sort of thing. The most I do is like maybe post it like in other people's Discords if that's cool at the end of the day, right? So yeah.
At least for me, when I was starting out, like I would always post my link like in the appropriate places, as long as it was cool with like other people. And I have to admit, I feel bad because, like, as I said, like, before getting into Twitch, I had no idea about anything. I wasn't savvy about Twitch at all. Like, I kind of had to do a crash course in seeing what's what, and I don't understand it like 100%. Like, some things that they do, I'm just like, I've got no idea what I'm doing. Like that, like the GIF of the dog where it's just like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm like, look, it's me.
Pretty much, it's like, or like the cat meme where it's like, they have like the sunglasses on. It's like a chemistry set. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm like, yeah, that's literally me right now on Twitch as well.
Because it's like,
we hide it well.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Don't worry, I'll delete this part in editing. Don't worry.
Just, don't let the secret get out.
What secret?
Right.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
Like just snap it.
Yeah,
Killer Queen. You're good. You're good.
Yep,
no one's ever gonna find out.
Yeah, Killer Queen's already touched the reference. There, exactly. Gone.
We're good.
Oh dear. But yeah, it was like, before I was doing that to my friends, I was saying, oh, do you want to check me out on, Twitch? And usually, like back then, before I had 50 followers, like I had a 2 or 3 average. I mean, that was like the bit that I was okay with, thanks to like my friends being so supportive. But yeah, it's like before then, they were all saying things like, how does Twitch work? And they were like, how does Twitch work? What is this and that? And I was trying to learn along with them. Now I know one of my friends, in fact, no, wait, 1, 2, 3, at least 3 or 4 of them are active on Twitch now. Like, one of them is now a streamer in his own right. Shout out to GreenShield95. He's like starting streaming. S-Banks, he is like, honestly, it's so funny because like either I'm on your stream or I'm on other people's streams, and like I'll be chatting saying, hey, how's the stream going? And then bam, S-Banks just underneath me, just like pops a message, and I'm like, when did you get? In fact, that's what I was watching. I was watching a streamer called MZ, and she does like a lot of really good like Call of Duty gameplay, and yeah, it was like I was talking on her stream, and then all of a sudden, lo and behold, S-Banks just crept in, and I was like, when did you get in here?
It's literally like a Zawardo moment. It's like, when did you get there? S-Banks is Dio confirmed, okay?
Yeah, it's like, you've been here the entire time? Always have been.
I remember that one time you
Yeah.
I think I went into your stream and I
Yeah.
made a JoJo reference and you're like, "Oh, Blowfish man, you're approaching me." And I'm like, I can't spam the like button.
Yeah.
I can't spam the follow button if I can't get close to your screen. You know.
That is
That sort
on.
of thing.
Oh, that is honestly like one of the best moments. See when you just click like with a
Yeah.
reference or something. Because I can't remember if it was I was talking to you before, like NAF raided your stream.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think. I can't remember if it was before
Uh,
that.
I think I literally only found out about you when NAF
Maybe.
raided me when I was wearing that gothic
Yeah,
outfit.
maybe it was because I'm trying to remember. If it wasn't you, then it was probably someone else I was making JoJo references at. Because I was like,
Oh, I'm pretty sure it was NAF. It was NAF who made the JoJo
yeah,
references.
because I think he had made it on his stream, and then there were two people well, me and someone else in the chat, and we were making JoJo references to one another, and it was just like, you know that way when it's just like you see someone with your interest, and you're just like the Spider-Man pointing meme, and you're just like, you, and they're like,
Ew. I love that so much, dude.
oh, it's like an amazing feeling.
Number one thing, I remember what Naf said when he
Yeah.
saw me in like the black lipstick and everything, and he's just like, "Hey, do you watch JoJo?" I was like, "I'm starting to get into it. Why? What's up?" He's like, "You kind of remind me of like Dio when
Yeah.
in part 3." It's like, then I looked, I'm like, "Oh my god, he has like,
Yeah.
well, he has green lipstick," and I'm like, "Oh no, that was literally me."
But yeah, honestly, like it honestly feels like see when you start streaming and it feels like you've been streaming for ages. Like you know the memes you get where it's like you see someone saying, I'm gonna it's like their fresh face, it's their first day of doing something and they're like, I'm gonna be the best streamer ever. And then it's like 3 months later and it's just like the shriveled face like
Yeah,
how long
you used to look so happy.
what happened?
What happened? I'm like,
Ground me down.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, beyond streaming as well, somebody told me, and by that I mean we have been talking about it off stream, that you are also into music in a particular band.
Yeah. Yeah, Backsmash is in chat too. Shout out to Backsmasher, who is also my older brother. Like that is actually not a meme. We are actual blood brothers for people who actually think we're memeing, like dead serious. So yeah, about music. So it all started, like how this whole music thing started was me and Backsmasher, we both went to, an arts high school, and the main thing in there was music, right? So we basically got like classically trained, and then eventually like we started to branch out because they only really taught us like a set amount of instruments. They taught us piano, they taught us how to sing, they taught us violin and organ. I know, right? That's super old school. So they taught us like those are like the main four things they would teach us in music school, and of course, basic music theory. But eventually, like some of the people in there decided to try and learn guitar by themselves, and Backsmasher, my older brother, was one of those guys, right?
Yeah.
And like for me, since I played bass guitar in the band, like there's always stereotypes of bassists never getting noticed.
Oh
And
yeah.
like always making fun of them. It's like, oh, the bassist is useless, this, and this, right? So the thing is, number one, because of those stereotypes, I was sort of into that. I was just like, good, I'm not really looking to get noticed. I just want to get good at an instrument that not a lot of people really want to play, right?
Yeah.
Because like become a hot commodity, essentially, right?
Yeah.
So there was that, and like I don't know, the moment I hit that first E string on the bass guitar, it hurt like hell because I've never played a bass guitar. You gotta like build up those calluses, right?
Oh yeah.
That low growly tone. I'm like, this kind of sounds pretty badass, right? So that's how like I started learning bass guitar. Man, it was like a training arc that you see in like typical like shonen mangas, where like the main character pushes himself to his limit to get better, to catch up to like child prodigy in his class. You know what I mean? Like I was playing, like I was going crazy. Like I was playing every day. It got really bad because like the calluses were starting to look like red and pussy, and I'm like, oh, I've been going way too ham. That's how I know, right? So I had to let them heal. The moment they did, like it was just I just started practicing more and more, and yeah. Oh, sorry, you're gonna say something.
No, I was just gonna say like, what was I gonna say? Yeah, just when you said about like the montage about anime, it's like instead of the 7-page Muda, it's like the 7-page Strum, where you're just
pretty much. It's like ow. That was pretty much me the whole time. Ow.
Ow, ow, ow. Oh, that sounds good.
Like, I remember like I practiced so much like over the summer vacation, right? And then grade 10 came, And like everyone was just like, how did you get so good so quick? It was like, I literally like practiced every day.
Yeah.
I kid you not, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then because of that, I kept going on with it. Backsmasher kept playing his guitar. He and I would always do like covers of songs that we would love. We'd post them on like things like Facebook Video, which was super ghetto. We would post them on I don't know if those old videos are still up of us covering like metal songs that we both loved. And I was in like grade 12. He was in like second, third year university, something like that, right? So then eventually, we became the music guys. Both even in our universities, we went to the same university. Like I started to get more well known because there wasn't a lot of bassists, and then people would be like, "Oh, you play bass? That's so cool!" Instead, like I was so used to hearing it back in high school. You play bass? Okay, right?
Yeah.
So that was like a whole different thing. It was like, wait, what? People actually what? Okay, shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, eventually, like me and shortening the story, Backsmash and I sort of became like the music guys in our universities as well. I was in a bunch of like metal and hard rock acts too. So that it's essentially like what sort of like influenced my playing and writing style, like just being in all those kind of bands, right? And then we're gonna like fast forward a bit to when T-Child was formed. First of all, Backsmasher I quote Backsmasher on this. I remember he said this on stream once. The name T-Child is actually a huge joke because so here a little bit of an origin story behind why T-Child is T-Child for the namesake. There's a Korean barbecue place in Toronto called Chaco's, right? And then literally translate that to Japanese, and it literally makes T-Child, right? And like we're just like, and as a joke, our singer Hannah and Backsmasher would always be like, "Oh, we should go for Chaco's," like, because that place was like not like 24-hour, but open until like 3 a.m. Like at like there's like a running gag between us, like we should go to Chaco's at like midnight and like eat all their food and shit, right?
Yeah.
And then one time that actually did happen, which was so funny, but we came in at last call.
Oh.
Yeah. It was like 1 a.m. It's like, okay, you can only order this amount of food. We're like, okay, cool, right? Yeah. Because of that running gag, that's how the name was formed, right? And then
that's cool.
We would get together. This is early in like late 2019, early 2020. We would get together at our singer's house, and then we'd actually sit down and have like serious business meetings and all that. Like we all had a common ground where we're like, look, we want to release content, we want to release music, right? And we're tired of like people who we collab with and then they end up flopping, right? Because like me and Backsmasher and Hannah, we were all ready to go. We were already like we had the energy. So then we decided to, and then we're like, okay, so what are we gonna start with, right? Like what's gonna be like our first EP gonna sound like, right? And I believe it was either me or Hannah who came up with it, and Backsmasher was on board. He was like, we were like, hey, how about we like cover like classic anime openings that everybody knows, right? So that was our first EP. We covered a Naruto opening, a Bleach opening, and then like we were having trouble deciding what the last 2 songs were going to be. It was only 4 songs. One of them was from a song like. It was a song that Backsmash and I really liked. Like I heard the song in grade 7 and I loved it. I didn't care what language it was in. It just sounded cool, right?
Oh yeah.
And then we showed it to Hannah and she was like, yeah, I'm kind of down to cover this too, right? Turns out that we didn't know, but that song is an opening for a baseball anime. We're like, huh? So this counts? You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, I guess that's going on the EP.
Yeah.
And then the 4th song, I think I'm the one who stumbled upon it, or not too sure. But I was watching, I'm sure you know the anime Demon Slayer, right? Like that opening, I love it. I still love it to this day. And I'm like, I feel like this would be a good addition to the EP. And then, I showed it to Backsmash. He's like, yeah, I'm kind of down with it. And then Hannah was like much more of a Demon Slayer fanatic than I was. She's like, oh, we're going to do this? Yeah, let's go. And, like she like practiced the song and everything. And then, we dropped that album in January 2020 or like early February 2020. And ever since then, we've been on a roll. We've been, covering. Then we start to branch out to like another Japanese like music artist. It wasn't the song Heavy Rotation wasn't an anime opening per se, but it was just Japanese music in general. Yeah. And then now we've released August Night, which is another by another Japanese rock band, which is funny enough, which is about your typical like shoujo anime. Sort of feels like, oh, I love this boy, and I'm gonna confess my feelings to him and get with him. You know what I mean? And then a week later was our very first K-pop song that we dropped, right? Because we're also big into K-pop too. Like I do listen to K-pop unironically. People could clip me on that, and because some of the stuff sounds so good, right? So the second song was basically about breaking up with your crush or breaking up with your boyfriend and remembering, or your significant other, and remembering the good times. And I'm like, it's like the first week was like, oh, like the honeymoon phase. Then the second week is like, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of funny how that
Yeah.
all works out. And then I'm glad that a lot of people really loved When We Were Us. I'm like, okay, like because Backsmasher and I were working on that since the beginning of the pandemic, when it was literally just a bunch of synths and a drum machine, and like we had no idea what to write for it. I'm like, damn, like how far this song has come from just being a bunch of noises and hitting things to like an actual music piece. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that is awesome. And I mean, that is a great song as well, because I'd listened to it like when you dropped it, and it was just like, it's like I tuned into it, I was like, okay, let's go. And then 2 seconds later, I was like, this is awesome. This is just. And it is. No.
And shout outs to Backsmasher for putting up the translations, because I remember one of my viewers was like, hey, I really like your new song, but I wish I knew what the lyrics meant. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Backsmasher just put up a translation like 5 minutes ago. She's like, oh, okay, I'm going to go see what's up, like what the song means. I'm like, okay, it's really sad, just warning you. She comes back and spams like the Bible thumb in my Discord. And I was just laughing. I'm like, I told you it was gonna be sad. Right?
Honestly, see the amount of songs like you listen to and you're like, oh, this is such a catchy beat, you know, or oh, this is such a great song, and then you like read up on what it's actually about and you're like, oh,
it's so sad.
Yeah. It's like, why?
Pretty much, right? Yeah.
It's so true. But no, it's great. Like T-Child's music, like your band is just like, it's awesome. It really is.
Thank you so much, man.
No, definitely. And yeah, if you want to check out the stuff, is it on YouTube?
It is.
Mainly.
It is. Did you want me to like get that link and drop it in chat up to you?
No,
okay.
No, it's okay. No, just now. Maybe at the end, just so you're not
right at
like,
the end, sure. Okay, gotcha. So I'll just get that link ready up then.
Yeah, no problem. It's just to give you time.
I was like, right, okay, gotcha.
I don't want to be like, yeah, get those links ready.
Yeah, it's like, get the link ready now.
we discussed this before.
Come on, man, stick to the script, no?
That was okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so for our final like topic before we kind of wrap up, it would probably be criminal if I didn't bring it up. That, of course, being our mutual interest of, well, I suppose anime as a whole, but mainly to do with JoJo. Because I have to admit, so I think this is probably like when I started to click with like your stuff. Because don't get me wrong, like I came in and I thought you were doing great, and then all of a sudden I think you dropped, I can't remember what reference it was, but it was something to do with JoJo, because I think Naf had said something and then you replied with a reference, and then I was just like, because the only reason I was so excited was because at the beginning of lockdown, so I've got a friend who, he is a massive weeb and knows like a lot more anime than I do. That's not like absolving myself, by the way. Like I am a total, like, I wouldn't say a total weeb,
trash.
Yeah. Like I have to admit, is like some of the stuff I've watched. I've watched Dragon Ball and like Death Note. The kind of the surface level ones, and then when you kind of delve deeper and watch some of the other lesser known ones, I'm like, yeah, I'm falling down the rabbit hole here.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and he kept recommending JoJo, and everybody kept, like, I heard the memes of it, I heard like this and that, but it was, so just for context, I am terrible. I am absolutely terrible. See, when someone says, go watch something, and I'm like, sure, I'll go watch it, and then a couple of months pass and they say, have you watched it? And I'm like, no. And it's not like because I don't want to watch it. It's just because I get lazy or I get like caught up in something else. Like especially my friend Green Shield. So he wanted me to watch The Great Pretender, which I've heard is a really good show on Netflix. But I just haven't really had the time, or I just haven't watched it. So I thought, when the lockdown came and of course I started working from home, I was like, okay, fine, now I've got time, I might as well watch JoJo. So I put it on, watched the first season. I thought, it's okay, Like,
I get that feeling, because like I feel everyone feels that way about Jonathan's story, right? I'm like, but at the same time, it's like how Nav put it. I'm pretty sure he's the one who put it this way. He was like, part one of JoJo isn't the JoJo that everybody knows, but it's it's good regardless. But it's just not the JoJo that everyone knows, right? So,
it's like a good starting point. I think
it's a good starting point.
Definitely, because I think if they went too ham and heavy, into like all the
Be a lot.
weirder stuff, yeah, like people would just get put off completely. Like, I can't remember what it was. I think it was actually Steins Gate, and that is an anime I probably just have to sit and push myself through. I watched the first episode, and I didn't even watch the full thing. I really couldn't get into it. But it's the same with Full Metal Alchemist, though. Because I watched the very first episode of that, did not like it at all. Like, I thought it was...
I was gonna say Satsu.
yeah.
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood or regular?
Oh,
Full
Brotherhood,
Alchemist?
sorry. Like,
Oh, really? Dang.
yeah,
I got into it.
Oh no, like, see the whole series. It's actually one of my favourites. It's like, I absolutely adore it, and I've got no shame in saying that I cried at the a certain
So many bad
characters.
points.
Yeah, so there are loads of points where I was just like, God damn, they did that character dirty. And I was just like, how could they do
really
it?
did.
Like, it's such an emotional show, and I love it. But see, getting over that first episode, it's so difficult. It's not even that. It's weird because on the one hand, like, sometimes I complain about shows where I'm like, oh, they're hand holding you through this, but then on the other hand, you're kind of like on the other hand, it's like they throw you right into like Brotherhood, and they're just like, oh yeah, people have got powers. That's it. And you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, slow down, explain. But like, see, once you get over that hurdle. And I feel as if it's the same with JoJo as well. It's like once you get over Jonathan's, like, I was surprised, like, I won't spoil it for anyone, but I was surprised at what they did for the ending of that part.
I was too. I was like, wait, what? They actually did it? That was like,
Yeah. So, kind of, I was going to say, like, a brief overview of JoJo, but that will take too long. But long story short, like,
there's so much to JoJo.
yeah, it's like they follow basically like this, like, one family and just their descendants. So, like, when they switch over from one character to the other, I was really surprised. I didn't think that's what this show was about. I was like, oh, vampires. I didn't know JoJo was about vampires. And then, like, the first 2 seasons follow that, and then they get rid of, like, everything that made the first 2 seasons. And then they're like, for seasons, like, or sorry, parts 3 to 5, it's like, oh, they've all got superpowers now. To varying degrees of success. But I remember, I think you did it quite well. Did you not watch part 4, like right after part 3?
I actually did, yeah. Like, because I was like, when I watched the Dio versus Jotaro fight, I was just like, look, as memey as this fight is, holy crap, it's well written and pretty intense. I'm not gonna lie, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I gotta get into part 4 because I've heard such good things about part 4, right? And then I just got into it.
Oh, it's so good. Like,
part 4 is great.
I have to admit, like, as I said, I watched part 1 and 2 back to back, and Netflix only has parts 1 to 3. At least the UK one does. And I was really
with the Canadian one.
Yeah, I was so annoyed because it was like, I watched part 1 and 2, absolutely loved them, loved part 2 a lot. And then when I went into part 3, I was a bit annoyed that they changed it up. Like, instead of having like one power, they switched it out for another. And I was kind of annoyed at that, but I thought, you know what, let's just, see where they go with it. And it almost felt as if, would you say it was like a Saturday morning cartoon up until the end?
100%.
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
So, like, I mean, it felt as if every week they were just switching out new characters, and it got tedious up until the Dio fight at the end, and it was just like, and that put me off for a while. I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to watch, and then I ended up like cashing out for a Crunchyroll, that's the word I'm looking for a Crunchyroll subscription.
Same.
Yeah. And I was like, fine, I'll watch part 4 because it was like a free trial. So I was like, yeah, right, I might as well watch it. Absolutely fell in love with it. And I'm messaging my friend who got me into it saying, oh my god, part 4 is great. And just getting an all caps text message back saying, told you. And I'm like, yeah.
Another thing that actually got me into JoJo was like, I always want to know the origin of the "oh my god" and "oh no" memes, right? Because I've seen them everywhere, and I'm just like, why is this old man just yelling that at the top of his lungs? Like, what's going on here? It sounds funny. That's literally like that was what I mean.
I mean, it does explain a lot. Like, I think the Zawardo meme, that was definite. Like, I was so glad actually finding out what that was all about.
I mean, me too. I was like, what is this power? Why does he keep yelling to the world at the top of his lungs? Who is this gold man with a gold You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I remember watching, it was like a video, of all things, it was a video of someone memeing on Pokemon Sword and Shield. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like there's this stupid, like, glitch, or not glitch, but this game thing where whenever you climb up a ladder, the whole world freezes around you. And I don't know why, like, it's just like glitchy, like just a glitchy mess, but you climb up the ladder, and someone had made a compilation video, and for that bit, just as the guy climbed the ladder, he put over the Zawardo effect. So all you just heard, it was amazing. It was just like, he's climbing, like, see, watching it before, you're kind of like, oh, I don't get it, like, I know what it's about, but I don't quite get what the joke is, but then after watching JoJo, you go back and watch it, and you're like, Zawardo!
Zawardo! Pretty much.
And the noise, oh, it's just chef kiss, just
I love
so
that
good.
noise, as
Oh, it is.
loud as it is. It's
Yeah.
like, I remember one of the things that you brought up, Satsu, was when I first came to your stream. He's like, "Oh, Blowfish Man, I know that you're a JoJo fan. Let me tell you this one funny thing that happened on stream. Someone, it was either your follower noise or your sub noise. Someone did one of those things, and then ended.
Yeah, it's follower. Yeah.
And then it crashed, right?
Yeah.
That's the perfect crash. It's like, I don't even care if I can't even stream anywhere because of it. That's a good way to go out. You know?
Oh yeah, totally. Absolute love. Yeah, that's for my follower noise. Yeah, it's just Zawardo, just like yelling out.
That's like my JoJo Redemption. It's just Zawardo.
Oh yeah. It's such a good. Oh, I remember that. Was that not one of your transitions?
Yeah, just for like whenever people want to redeem the BlowfishMan channel point redemption.
Oh, of course, yeah.
That's all I use it for.
Yeah, it's worth it. Definitely, JoJo references are always worth it on stream.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Oh god, yeah, like, see, before I was kind of like, oh, I don't know, but then see when I learned that you can actually customize your noises on stream, and then it's just like, yep, it's JoJo time. So, before we wrap up, where can these lovely people in the chat and those who are listening at home find BlowfishmanTV?
Well, you can either find me on twitch.tv/BlowfishmanTV. I stream Mondays, Fridays, and Wednesdays. The schedule should be on my channel. And like, if you're in the Discord, you already know it's in the Discord. Not only that, but Backsmasher and me and our singer Hannah are also part of a music group called T-Child, and we've just dropped a lot of music. You could find our music right there, and we also do have a YouTube channel too, where I sometimes, edit the compilations of me and Backsmasher's biggest fails on Twitch. But other than that, yeah, thank you so much for having me as a guest, Satsu. It's a huge honor.
Yeah, no problem, and thank you so much for coming on. Don't worry, the check is in the mail, I swear. I say that to every guest that comes on, and yeah.
What do you say?
Look, all I'm saying is, like, the postal service here, when it comes to checks, they all just disappear in the mail. They always do, yeah, especially the international ones, they just...
It is. They got to check if, they got to check over a lot of things.
Yeah, they got to check their checks. That's all I'm saying. You can quote me, you can clip me on that.
100%.
Yeah, but no, thank you for coming on, and thank you for being the very first streamer guest on this. Because yeah,
I'm very honored by it.
No, it's been a lot of fun, and yeah, definitely, guys, go check out Blowfishman TV. His stuff is awesome. I should know because I watch it. I'm in the chat usually, so you might bump into me if you're there.
If you guys want to know an even better streamer than me, keep on listening to Satsunami's Chatsunami and check out his streams too.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, again, thank you so much, Blowfish. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me. It has been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure, dude. Yeah, 100%.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone in the chat for watching and for listening to us. And yeah, as always, stay safe, stay awesome, and most importantly, yeah, stay hydrated. Bye, guys.
Later, guys.